Hey everyone, I'm Dan Constance,
And I'm Jordan Braun.
and together we're Constantly Brawn.
Woo!
We've been watching soccer for a while now, me more than Jordan. I've converted him about 3 years ago.
I
As
was
you can see,
almost a Fulham fan.
yeah, almost. Almost. We were close on that one. But as you can see, he's got a Tottenham jersey. He's a Tottenham fan. Myself, Manchester United. And we're sick of the pundits. Simple as
Uh-huh.
that. They get it wrong more often than they get it right. Like, look at this. This says Jose Mourinho, Manchester United. Look at that crest. Look at that. That's Manchester City.
That's City.
What's this?
What?
One. Pep
Pep
Guardiola in
is,
Manchester
Pep
City.
is United?
Seems wrong to
Dreams
me.
do come true.
Apparently. So that's what we're here for. We may not be right as much as them either, but we're about to take them on. So without further ado, let's start talking about the English Premier League.
Well, you guys had the busier summer, so why don't you go first?
I think we did. I think we had a great summer. It was about time we cut ties with Louis van Gaal. Picked up a proven EPL winner in Jose Mourinho, and he wasted no time in finding the weaknesses and getting players in. Who do we got? We got Eric Bailly, Enric Mkhitaryan, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and finally Paul Pogba. Will there be more? Possibly. Do we need more? That's debatable. We've had in a long, long time. I'm excited. I know you are too.
I actually am. I think you guys did a really good job in the transfer market. Even if you don't get Font, I think you did great. Font, that's another added player. But moving on to the Spurs, we didn't really do so much in the summer. But that's good news because we usually sell everyone to Real Madrid. But Ali and this guy here, Kane, is still Spurs, so that's good. We also
And they got third. I mean, they were close to second, but they got third. They played some of the best soccer last year.
we pulled the Spurs and choked, but at the same time, we were playing fantastic. And we have Pochettino. I love the Wanyama move because he's played under Poch before. He has the Champions League experience, and he allows some moves for Eric Dyer to play back in the center back role that he played before. That supposedly Ledley King even said he thinks that's his best position as a center back. So who knows? It gives a lot more room. But I hope I say his name right, is Jansen. I don't know if it's Jansen or Jansen.
Seems to me like it would be Jansen, but
Yancey. But maybe I'll just call him Yancey from now on. I really like that move.
The nickname sticks.
So Yancey, 27 goals in 34 games last year in the Dutch league. He's 22. He doesn't look it, but he's younger than Kane. He can shoot on his left foot, and I really loved how he played last week against Everton. He was strong. He showed he could hold the ball up. He made some great saves from their goalie, who I think is going to have a good year too.
Yeah, he missed that sitter.
Yeah, it was good start. He may even start this week against Crystal Palace. That's the rumors. Kane said he's not 100%, so we'll see about that.
Anyone 100% though? They all say they're not in preseason.
Yeah, true. But Posh even said he may. I don't think so. I think Kane will start, but will Yancey start too?
Bond's not 100%. Guess what he did? He scored. Scored in the Community Shield and against Bournemouth.
We'll see against Southampton. We'll see. That's going to be a first real test.
It is. I mean, it's early in the season, but I mean, they're growing in confidence. The Community Shield win, it's a trophy. It's preseason, but it's a trophy. Get that winning feeling continuing at United, and then get that first win under their belt after a slow first half. The second half really picked up. And Zlatan scoring on his debut in the EPL, just like he did in every other league he's played. So, I mean, good times ahead. And it's Mourinho's first game at Old Trafford. He's lost, 9 total home games in his entire career at home. Man builds his house as a fortress. And, it starts Friday night game against Southampton.
What I like about Mourinho and what he's done with Manchester United already is I feel the teams feel when they're playing United, that's a big game again. I think under Van Gaal, it was, it's United. We can do whatever we want to them in a sense. Now teams are going to have their A game against United. You guys are pretty good up and down.
Getting the fear factor back, and I think that was a huge, huge success under obviously Sir Alex Ferguson. But coming into a place where you're like, oh, we're probably not going to win. That does a lot to the psyche. So hopefully it starts up again.
What do you think about Henrique not starting though?
I mean, if you look at his first 2 years at Dortmund, he wasn't that great, really. It was really only this last year that he really came to form, and teams took notice. We took notice. So I think Mourinho's doing the right thing and easing him in. I mean, as much as I love Mata, I don't think he's a right winger. So I probably maybe not would have started Mata, but I mean I think Lingard's hurt, so Mata, it's a good choice. Even if everyone thinks Mata's going to be leave with Mourinho there, but he shows his value. And I think Henrik's just being eased into it, but I think he's going to be a great addition to the squad.
It's ironic that Mata scored the first goal of the season too.
And it was great. I love it because look at my boy,
Mata.
But I mean, ideally, I'd love to see Mata. Honestly, I'm sorry, like take the number 10 role. Rooney.
He should.
Rooney's not up to par right now. I think he's got to just buckle down and keep working. Does he deserve to start? I mean, probably for all he's done for the club. And we all love to see him get back to his best. But if anyone's a manager to dislodge Rooney finally, it's definitely going to be Mourinho.
It'll be interesting to see. That probably brings us to our next piece, which is our expectations and predictions for the upcoming year.
Sure.
I know we're talking a lot about United. We could talk more about Spurs. But we kind of, before even the first week started, we had each done a top 20.
Mm-hmm.
But do you want to go through your top 4 and then teams you're going to get relegated?
Sure. I think United take this. I do. Even before Pogba was officially announced, I think the quality was still there. As much as everyone wants to ride on United for not being good enough quality wise, I think we were. I think it was just stifled under Van Gaal. But I think with a lot to prove now, everyone's gonna be on top form, and I think they take the top spot. I think City will finish behind them. All the pundits picking them because they have Pep. But other than that, especially after the first game against Sunderland, it didn't really seem like they got his methods yet. Can they still do it? Yeah. But I think City gets second to United.
And who was Pep even brought in?
Ilkay, whatever, Gunningham from Dortmund. They brought some young players in. Nolito looks pretty good. He's refreshed Sterling. Sterling's looking a lot more threatening again now.
Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, so they'll definitely be better than they were. I just see United taking.
There's just one thing that we have to say about Sterling, which scares me. He's a little bitch.
Always will be, man. That's what happens when you come from Liverpool.
And that's what's going to happen. Like, he looks good right now, but he's already first game, gets hit, falls over. He's going to fall over in probably situations where it's not even a foul, and he's going to look like a little bitch again.
Yeah, but that one wasn't. That was just bad defending.
Right, that was because Van Aanholt, whatever.
Van Aanholt.
I call him Van Asshole, but Van Aanholt, not the best defender. Very good going forward, but.
Yeah, it seems to be a problem these days. A lot of defenders or wide defenders are very good going forward and just not so much staying, being defensive.
Ending your first line of defense. First job. First thing you have to do. Then you can go forward. Yeah. So you have City second.
Second, and I'm torn on this one, but right now I think Chelsea get third and Tottenham get fourth. I think Tottenham finally get their number over Arsenal, who drop all the way down to 6th. But I don't know, Chelsea. I don't know. It's tough to. I know they only got a new manager, got a few new players, and it's the same team that kind of fell apart last year. But that's also the same team that just won the league. So I mean, the quality's there. Conte proved in Euros that he's a really good and tactical and smart manager. He's going to get the best out of the players. So I think they can make a decent run at it here.
Can he learn English though?
Does it matter?
You're in the English Premier League. You have John Terry, who would probably learn Italian if it can get with Conte's wife. I'm sorry, but
Yeah, but soccer knows no language, man. If you know how to play, if you know how to get the best out of your players, you could speak Russian, you could speak, Indonesian, whatever, and still do well. So I'm sure he's learning English anyway.
yeah, he's very passionate. It looks like the players are really going to be playing hard for him. Complete 180 from last year with Mourinho. It's the 3-year curse. That's why I find it funny. He said Zlatan's going to be here for 2 years because the 3-year curse is real.
Mourinho has changed.
3-year curse. 3-year curse.
I will say it now. I think he lasts more than 3 years at Manchester United. This is the dream. This is the team, the dream, everything he's always wanted, and he has it now. I think he's going to keep it.
All right. So I'll go my top 4. I also have United first. I'm sorry. Wish we could have argued a little more, but I just think the lineup they have, and I love Mourinho there. And it's not even just the starting lineup. We can go over that with Pogba, with the Bally signing. De Gea we haven't brought up, best goalie in the league. When people say, oh, Peter Cech, he's so good.
Like the first season we haven't just mentioned De Gea as the only player we have.
Right, but he's so good. We keep forgetting that. I hope his head's okay with everything that happened. Rough summer for him, but I think he will be. He's a leader. I see him as a future captain, a future legend at United. So that's going to be good. But your depth, I mean, you're going to have guys like Mata coming off the bench, Rashford. We love Rashford.
I can't wait to see what he does. I know a lot of people are on the case of him not getting as much playing time this year, but I think he's still going to be a huge thing for us.
He's definitely needs to play. He needs to be your super sub. 30 minutes left of the game, bring him in, maybe start cover for Zlatan. Zlatan's getting up in age, great experience. So they're going to be good. You're going to have Herrera coming off the bench, starting some games. They're going to be stacked. Second, I got to go Spurs. The reason I have to go Spurs is because they're just such a solid core team. They're young, and they're another year experience. They were there. They're going to be hungry. I think the Champions League experience will help them, playing against top teams, having that feel of playing at Wembley. They have the best defense from last year. Lloris, we know he's injured, but I think Bourne will be fine, and Lloris will be back. Good cover.
I mean, they have a good core. I love Ali, Kane. Lamelo's starting to.
Lamelo's going to have a great year. He could be a breakout star this year. The way he's been playing at the end of last year, through summer to now, his form. Finally, the player we wanted to sign. I like Yancey. I hope that nickname stays. It is good for me. Eriksson is fantastic. We don't talk about him enough. They have a good core. And the defense with Walker and Rose, these are quick guys who do get back and defend. They've improved that ability. And then you got Alderweireld and Vertonghen, the 2 Belgian boys. But I wouldn't be surprised if Wimmer takes over that role at one point this year. I think Vertonghen, his health has been a little concerned this year. He looks a little slower, and Wimmer looks great. So Wimmer, I'm sorry, I'm not saying the V, but I really think
he was really nice last year when he was called upon.
Yeah, I think he could take that role, or Dyer in a center back role.
He's definitely for the future. I mean, I could see a Dyer Wimmer partnership there.
Yeah. So. I also have Chelsea third, and one of the reasons I'm going to add to them being third that Dan did not talk about is the money they're spending. They're going to spend $60 million possibly on a defender? Is this real life?
Did it.
John
Stones, man. John Stones.
That was $40 million. This is $60.
Well, yeah, right. 60 euros, pounds, whatever we're talking.
Yeah. Ridiculous, but they'll be good.
That's the market, though. There's no top class defenders anymore, and that just makes Bailly look so much more of a steal.
Oh, great signing! Great
$30 million, and he already looks like an established pro. I mean, he's been fantastic. 2 man of the match performances, and it's like perfect signing so far.
I feel Arsenal dropped the boat on that one, and they're trying to get the other guy from Villarreal, the other center back, but.
Yeah, they definitely dropped the ball, and that's why, just another reason that I have them dropping so far this year is just like, every year they always miss the signing they need, And this year, it's just everyone else improved, and they did nothing. They just sat on their hands and did nothing.
They got another midfielder who everyone's raving about, but every time I watch this kid play, this Xhaka kid, he doesn't impress me. I don't know.
I don't think he was great in Euros. I thought his game against Liverpool was awful. His touch and control was just horrible. Needless yellow card.
He's not even a good defender. I don't know what really they spent $40 million on him for.
To say they bought someone, probably.
We got Peter Cech last year. We got Xhaka this year. Next year.
And I mean, I like Giroud, and I think he gets a really bad rap. But they needed to sign a striker, and they still haven't. It's been what, 3 years now?
Crystal Palace signed a striker today.
Finally.
So even they're doing
that probably ends their relegation fight. They should be fine now.
So again, and then for fourth, I have City. I think they're going to be good, but I think they're going to kind of drop the ball a little bit. I don't see a signing that Pep's made yet that's really made them significantly better from last year.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I mean, Nolito has looked good, and I haven't seen much of him
in
previous years, so it's hard to really judge that one. And I think most of his influence is going to come more in tactics and how they play rather than a certain player or two. So, I think it's going to take time, but, I mean, they definitely should be good, especially if this past midweek was anything to go by. They're starting to already adopt his ideas better than
definitely. But this is the Premier League, and I think Pep is a little too cocky. He's coming in thinking he's already won it when he's barely played. Sunderland gave him a rough time.
David Moyes
coming back. So if that is the case, he's going to have a very rough year. There's no winter break for him.
He's not used to that.
There's 19 teams that can beat him any day, not like in Spain or Germany where there was one or two maybe.
Yeah, I mean, those leagues were, no offense, but pretty much a joke. I think they write Bayern's name on the trophy right when the season starts. I think that's how it works. And then Barcelona at least have Madrid and both Madrids to battle that one. So it's going to be an interesting season, at least for the top of the table. Bottom of the table, relegation fight's always fun. Who do you have for your 3 picks?
All right, I have 20th Hull. Hull City impressed me against Leicester City, but at the same time,
enough over the course of the season. I don't think so.
I agree.
I have that last two.
That team's in shambles.
I hope they stay on though. Not to lie. I hope they
They were exciting to play, but when you have midfielders as your center backs, you have 13 healthy first-team players. You don't have a coach.
Eventually, it's gonna help. It's gonna hurt.
Especially think January transfer market. If some of these players, like a Snodgrass or something, gets sold to another team, what are they gonna do?
Probably drop down.
So 19th, I have Burnley. Burnley's the team that you love, and they're too good for championship, but they're not good enough for the Premier League yet.
Yeah, I mean, I like their spirit. I think Gray is definitely a breakout star there. But
easily.
I just don't think they'll have enough over the course of the season to avoid the drop.
Okay, and I'm going to go a little controversial with my number 18. I'm going to go Swansea City. I think they've lost too many players. I think the signings that they did, a couple of the strikers that they got are good, but I don't think good enough. And
I think Llorente, I've wanted to see him in the EPL for a long time.
Yeah, I know you have. I think they're going to be in a very tight relegation battle, and I could see them really making some weird moves like this offseason. They made some – I like the Ashley Williams selling because he's getting older and sell high on your players.
Yeah, he was kind of up and down last season.
Yeah, but if you look at the market, though, I feel they could have even gotten more for him.
Probably. But there comes a time where arguing about $1 million is kind of pointless. I'm
not arguing about $1 million. I'm thinking they could have gotten 15. Arsenal needed a center back.
So, yeah. But yeah, I'm not with you on that one. I have Bournemouth as the third team to drop in. Again, they had a good spirit again against United and all of last year too, but it was just barely enough last year, and I don't think they did enough this year or this summer to really push through.
How?
How?
That's all I'm gonna say. Eddie Howe.
Oh, Eddie Howe.
I think he is a fantastic young coach. I like how Bournemouth plays an attacking style. You're right. I think they're going to be towards the bottom, but I have them 16. I think that they can survive this year.
I mean, I don't think they can survive. I just right now predicting was not to. So,
all right.
Next up, you want to talk about next week?
Sure.
Okay, so we got United against Southampton, as we already touched on. I think
Friday night football. Woo!
Not a huge fan of that, especially since I'll be at work. Won't be able to watch the game.
Sports, way to make money.
Yeah, I know. But I think United, will get that first win for Mourinho at home. Southampton didn't look too good against Watford, and I like the Southampton team. I got them, challenging for Europe again. I just, they lost Pella. They, Long was never too much of the best single striker, so they're gonna, I think, struggle a little bit this year. But in this game, I think United have enough to get through them, especially possible Henrik playing more, Pogba coming back. That's going to be a huge moment for him and the fans, and the whole stadium is just going to erupt and I think urge us on. And I'm going with a 2-0 victory. I think.
Could you believe if Pogba's debut is a loss?
I can't. I can't even think. That's why.
At home, Mourinho's debut, Zlatan's debut home,
that's there's too many things working for them. The whole transfer rumors with Font being linked to United. Not that he'll be really affected by that. I think he's a class center back, but I think maybe their team might seep in a little bit there.
I like the Font and Van Dijk matchup versus Zlatan. You got 3 very big, strong guys going at each other. Well, 1 versus 2.
And with Zlatan, like he did against Bournemouth, I could see him dropping in more to get the ball. And if the 3 behind him can just start utilizing that space behind him, and Rooney especially more just running in behind as Zlatan drops in, I think that's going to leave a lot of space because Van Dijk and Font are definitely, one of them's going to follow him, I think, and just create that space.
Have to.
Yeah, so I'm going with the 2-0 victory for the boys.
I think that's a good bet. I see it 3-1. I see Southampton just getting a goal somewhere. If it's a Shane Long just shot off a corner or something, some United mistake or Fellaini back pass or something. I don't know what, but I still see Southampton getting at least 1 goal. At the same time, too much firepower. We even have Martial who's playing well.
Yeah, he's starting to play well. I mean, you put a rough Euros behind him. Starting to look a little more threatening as the game wore on last week.
Okay, so then let's go to my team. Spurs play Crystal Palace. If you're going to play Crystal Palace, now's the time to play them because they just lost the last.
What if Benteke starts though?
He's not starting.
Why? It's not.
He hasn't even had a medical yet.
Still, they got till Saturday.
He's going to have a medical. We haven't seen him play in months, and he's just going to go, all right, you're in the starting lineup. Here you go, Benteke.
Sure, why not?
I would be shocked if you.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I remember when they were going to play Stoke last year, and it was the same thing with Shaqiri. And Shaqiri signed, I think, almost in the beginning of the week, and he was sitting on the bench. They weren't going to use him yet. So now you're going to have Benteke coming in a day after his medical, starting for a team he's never practiced with.
Striker? Yeah. They don't have a striker, and before he went to Liverpool and kind of stalled his career, he was great.
I agree, and I think they played him so wrong in Liverpool. I think he could be great on a Crystal Palace and get himself back up there.
It wasn't he played wrong. It's just he never fit. He was never going to fit with Klopp.
Right.
So
right. He's that striker. He needs the ball to him. He needs service. He can't just really create on his own.
He's not going to grab the game by the scruff of the neck.
Right. He's not like the other strikers that he's brought in. But let's get back to Tottenham Hotspur. I think they are going to home. It's the final home first game at the Lane. Last season, the Lane. I think there's a lot of pent-up aggression from not only last season, but last game where they started sluggish, and then the second half they really got into the game. Yancey helped tremendously. Kind of hope that we don't have both Dyer and Wanyama both in the defensive midfield role. Maybe they'll
play, though. Dembele is still out.
Mason. I'd rather have a little more creativity going forward. I thought they looked too defensive with both of them there. And it has nothing to do with either of them. I think they're good covers for each other. They're great foils. But I thought they looked a little too defensive. And especially against this Crystal Palace team where Townsend's the only real threat, they may push back a lot. And that's why we need to get forward. We need to get going. Give Kane a chance, but, that's why you got Yancey. You got him to give Kane a rest, give him cover, and also let Lamela go. I think Lamela scores, and I think Yancey scores.
Yeah.
So I think 2-0 as well.
I think I have 2-0 also. I think, Spurs just have too much, and they've got to get a win under their belt this season. I know it's early, but, they'll want to get their first 3 points and kick on from last year. I think that's too much for Crystal Palace here.
All right. Let's talk the big game of the weekend. Arsenal versus Leicester City.
First for second last year. Both had some disappointing first weekend. I don't know who had it worse, to be honest. Arsenal, you kind of expected it.
We're used to that.
Used to it, but it's also, they had no, Holding and Chambers are starting at center back. Liverpool were, coming out flying. They wanted this. But then again, Leicester probably, I wouldn't say underestimated Hull, but they kind of ran out of ideas, which is something that didn't happen last year. And I think it got to them a little bit. So this game is going to be interesting. I know it's probably a little bit of a cop-out, but I could see it being a draw, like a 2-2 draw.
High-scoring draw.
High-scoring draw. The Leicester haven't, did they even? I don't think they kept a clean sheet this summer. Their defense isn't what it was the second half of last season.
Conte, that's huge.
That is huge. He was a huge loss. But Drinkwater's good, and I like King so far. But yeah, their defense just, everything just isn't clicking right now. So I see a high-scoring game for both.
I remember watching a game with you, a Leicester City game with you last season, and we were just so impressed with Conte because he literally, Leicester City kept losing the ball, and it was in the midfield area, and he won every tackle.
That's what he does. That's why
every tackle, and he's everywhere. There's unbelievable. So to lose that puts a lot of pressure on that defense, and they're not used to that. So you're right, but at the same time, isn't this an interesting matchup? You have Arsenal and Leicester City with the two players Arsenal tried to get this entire offseason, and both of those players said, we'll stay here. Yeah, now they're going to have a point to prove.
It's going to be interesting which comes out on top, the players with the point to prove or the team that says, oh, you should have come to us.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. I still don't think Arsenal's fit, both with the players coming back from the Euros, also with just their injury curse, because now we have Ramsey out, Wobie's out, that can give Ox-Chamberlain a chance to start, and he's really impressed me this offseason and the beginning of the season. He looks finally like the player we thought he was going to be.
But he's shown glimpses in the past. He just never strings it together. So
right.
this would probably be a big game for him if he does get the start to show it when it matters.
Right. So we shall see. But I think it's going to be 2-1. Leicester City. I think both Vardy and Mahrez will score just to make Wagner and all the fans lose the runs.
Speaking of Leicester, before we go anywhere else, where do you see him coming this year after just that fantastic run last year?
That is tough. Let me go back to my list. I have him 9th, and I think that's too low.
Yeah, I have him at 7th. Listen, they're as great as that season was. Were they going to follow it up with a run back to back? It's not likely. I'm going to hold my tongue from saying it's not going to happen, but it's not likely. I think with all the extra added games from the Champions League this year, they may struggle.
League, FA Cup, League Cup. Remember, they were eliminated early on both of those tournaments.
Yeah, so I think their depth is what's going to really come into play this season. But I like what they have there, man. I like the players. I like how they like each other, and I think they could sneak and get that seventh spot.
It's a well-managed squad. The one thing that scares me with Leicester, too, besides losing some of their key players like Conte, is last year they got awfully fortunate that none of their key players got injured. This year, it's a whole new season, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think they could do it, though.
Who's your surprise this year, Dan?
Surprise. Team-wise or player-wise?
I was thinking team, but if you want to do player,
I don't know. It's a little difficult. I think Everton are going to do well. I wouldn't consider that a surprise though. Like they've had the players in place for a while that are good enough. You know, you look at Barkley, you look at De La Feu, Lukaku. They're good players. And you know, after a little of the shine of Roberto Martinez kind of wore off, they kind of dropped. But they still have the quality. So I don't know if I'd consider that a surprise. I think I'd consider Leicester staying in the top half a surprise. And
wow, top 10? That's a surprise for you? Wow.
I think everyone expects them to drop, and as much as I think they will too, I don't think it's going to be as bad as it was, or as
I have them 9, and that I feel that's low. I could see them doing 6th, 5th, 4th even. They can go.
I would love to.
That would be awesome. Be great if they win it again, but I guess my surprise for a team, and then next week we can go player. Little teaser, make you guys come back and watch. But for me, a surprise I feel like we're saying this every year, is Southampton. Everyone's writing them off because half the team's at Liverpool, half of the team is somewhere else each season. But they keep getting these good players, and these players I don't know what it is at St. Mary's, the coaching system, the whole foundation.
The whole setup, the academy is run, so well. I mean, look at that. What if Font leaves, though? What do you expect then? Think they still do well?
I'm going that Font stays.
So am I.
That's based on Font stays. If Font leaves, that's their captain. That's the Rock who, when Lovren left, when Alderweireld left, he stayed. And that kept that defense at a high level. He leaves, what do you got left now? Yeah, Van Dijk's good, but I think it's not enough time to get a real high-quality signing at center back. That could be trouble. But I think Font stays. I like the players they brought in. I like Redmond. I think he's going to impress a lot.
Yeah, for the season.
I think Austin and Long can do well together. And I also like the player from Bayern Munich who seems like he's been playing soccer forever, and he's like 20 or something, Holberg.
He's a class pickup.
Yeah. So I think they're going to be good. I think people are saying, oh, they're going to be having trouble 13th, 4th. No, I have them at 8th. They could even go higher.
I think I had them around there too. I have them somewhere in 8th to 10th. I got West Ham fighting up there too.
West Ham's going to be interesting. I was so high on IU, and
I'm still not too sure what to make of them yet. I mean, they had a great year last year with Payet, but
Payet's too good for that team. He really is.
He really is.
How did Real Madrid or Barcelona just sit back and say, "Oh, okay, we're not going to make a big."
Went under the radar because his attitude at other clubs apparently wasn't fantastic and stellar, so no one really wanted to deal with that.
You look like a class player at the Euros, though. You look like a player you wanted to play with.
Yeah, that's the problem now that West Ham faces, keeping hold of him for a long time.
So the team that I think we went team surprise good way, let's do team surprise bad way. And I really think we've been alluding to it. I dream of it. It's Arsenal.
Definitely.
I think this is their year to go down. I think we're starting to get sound bits, little tidbits with the way things are being managed, that the era of Wegner may be done.
Yeah, and it's fitting, isn't it? It's his last year of his contract.
Yeah. So it seems like
that he leaves with them out of the Champions League spots.
Right. I have him 6th, but I could see I would love any spots lower. Come on, Leicester City. Come on, Everton, Southampton.
I'm 6 too, just because I mean, even if they do fall, they still have Ozil, Sanchez. I mean, they have great players, and it's hard to fall them too far.
Oh my goodness! But they're the one team I see that did not get better at all. If anything, they may have gotten worse. Just it's another year.
It's possible.
Now you got Wilshire like running around and injured again. Like
I think he's just permanently injured now. I think.
Oh, you think it's like, oh, I got a game. Oh wait, I got a cut. I'm injured. I can't play. I got a boo boo. Can you kiss it, RC? Okay, Jackie Jock.
Okay, let's stop with that for a sec. Okay, it's been a long video, but before we wrap it up, we'll hit one of Jordan's favorite things, fantasy.
So I had a whole big speech about fantasy. I'm just gonna do it very quickly. If you're looking at your midfielders in fantasy, do not have a defensive midfielder in your lineup. You need attacking midfielders. You need guys who are going to get assists, guys who are creative, and guys who have an attacking threat and score goals. You won't even want midfielders who may play more of a forward role. I said Redmond earlier. Delafeo works. Even a Firmino works. You want that type of midfielder. What you do not want is Conte and Dyer. And I love these players. We were talking about this in the video, how much I love these players. They're fantastic. Not for fantasy. They're midfielders.
I think the thing is with this, a lot of players, they'll pick their teams based on like the good players, and then they'll fill their spots with whatever fits. And, Conte may not be, a goal scorer or get you assists, but he's going to get you 3 points more often than not. And that's only if you need to put him in, if your top players aren't playing. But yeah, I mean, me personally, I don't have any defensive midfielders in my team.
Me neither.
I don't think I ever will.
You don't want that type of player. You want someone who's going to be creative, who's going to try to go forward and get you those goals. A clean sheet for a midfielder is 1 point.
It's not worth it.
Not worth it at all.
You could find more value in 3 7s than you can in like a 10 and a 9 and a 4 or whatever.
You want a cheap midfielder? Get Snodgrass. He's available. He's the same as Conte.
You want someone who's going to play every game, who maybe takes free kicks, corner kicks, things like that, and is going to be influential on their team. Like, yeah, he's on Hull, but these players are still going to get you some points, especially when you need to play them.
All right. Well, that's it for fantasy for this week. Hopefully, I see their percentage goes down a little bit, so we don't have to have this rant again next week. We could talk about certain players we see who are playing really well, who you should pick up, who have good fixtures, or players who may be coming in a rough patch. So that's it with our fantasy corner.
And I think that does it with our first video too. This was fun. It's our first episode. We're a little new to it.
Yeah, sorry for a little scruff around the edges.
I think my beard's a little better than his.
I just shaved.
So we'll try to get better as we go. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe, leave us some comments of anything you liked or didn't like, or anything we could work on, and we'll see you again for the next episode.
Yeah, any suggestions, comments of topics you want us to talk about, questions you may have, we'll be happy to answer. But we'll see you guys next week.
Enjoy.
Go Spurs!